New Year's message for me a little bit more thoughtful than normal, and a reading that really touched me before Christmas, and it's beautiful, by Meggan Watterson. The first power, darkness, what we have forgotten. If I could start over from the beginning, I would start with the most invisible, the threads in the web of our ecosystem that are rarely named, much less revered. I would start by listing the names of the trees, the flowers, the seeds that carry the light, that give us life, because this is what we have forgotten. This is where our reverence has not yet reached. I would start with frankincense and myrrh, with the boswellia and commiphora trees that made them. I would start with the honeybee and the sweet essential nectar it feeds on. I would start first with what goes unnoticed, with what we haven't realised is the most sacred among us. I would start with the names of everyone we've excluded, of the street children, of the millions slowly starving to death in plain daylight. I would start with the outsiders, the outcasts. I would start with every one of us who thinks we aren't worthy of love, just as we are. I would say each of their names, each of our names who have been made into objects, who have been violated, who have had to survive by leaving the body altogether. I would list the names of all the mothers who have known the unspeakable joy of gradually knitting life within her, of bringing life from the dark into the light. The mothers who have no idea where their heart is anymore now that it's outside of them. The mothers who remind us, no matter who we are, that our first country was a woman's body, and our first element was water, and that our first reality was darkness. If I could write the beginning, it wouldn't be in the light, it would be in the womb, in the dark, in a cave, in an egg. It would be to name all that has been left out of what's holy, the blood, the body. Nothing real or imagined has ever happened without it. If I could start again, I would install an altar within me. I would place the most sacred object inside of it, my own heart. If I could start again, I would know that the only cathedral I've ever needed to find, to enter, to return to again and again is this humble red hermitage, this mystical space that holds all the answers. I would begin again inside my heart, and I would live this way, speaking from it. If I could start all over, I would begin with her. I would list all of their names first as an introduction, a forgotten lineage. Inanna, Enudana, Isis, Kuan Yin, Miao Shan, Mother Mary, Sarah Lakali, Thekla, Perpetua, Joan of Arc, Marguerite Porete. I would start with the other hidden half of the story, the voices that were buried in deserts and in caves, the ones that were burned at the stake. The ones that were so threatening because hearing their voices would mean letting our love reach where it has never been before. To all of us. To all of creation. To the least among us, to the trees and the flowers, to the honeybee that feeds them, to the frankincense and myrrh, to the bark and the dirt, to the land itself where the word was first spoken. If I could begin again, it would be with her love, because this is what has been forgotten. This is what we need most to remember, that she could hear him, meet him from within her own heart, that she had so much to teach us, that her love for him taught her. I would start with her love because this was the bridge. This is the bridge. This is how we move the story of what it means to be human forward. We hear from her about what her love made possible. If I could start again, it would be in the darkness. And in the darkness, all we would see is a hand suddenly extending out towards us. And the invitation would be terrifying. Seeing this hand would compel our heart to start beating rapidly, audibly. The fear comes from feeling out of control. We want to leave and we want to stay with equal measure. We want to know what might happen next and for everything to remain exactly the same. Taking this hand is a choice to surrender in it all of the fear, the hurt, the anger, and the ego that created it. If I could start again, I would start with Mary Magdalene, because she is the one who remembers him, the Christ I know by heart. A beautiful piece of text. I hope you take that forward into your new year and start again from the darkness. Happy New Year.